Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay and this is Life with Lindsay. Today we have a WIP Chat for you, but if you are new here, hi, welcome. My name is Lindsay. I do mainly diamond painting and some other crafting related content from time to time, and I would love for you to like, subscribe, hit the bell, hop aboard the Hot Mess Express. Let's all be friends. If you've been here before, hi, welcome, thanks for coming back. So if you do not know what a WIP Chat is, WIP, W-I-P, is work in progress. So I will be working on my current WIP, which is Wonderland Dreams Come True. This is a new kit that I started this yesterday in real time. And if you'd like to see the unboxing for this, I will leave that one up in the eye. This is Sparkle Queens Creations kit. I am doing this for the Sparkle Queens Creation event, hosted over on Instagram by Jamie and Kirbie. All the information will be listed down below. But you can work on whatever it is that you want to be working on. It can be a craft project. It can be a household project. It can be while you're doing chores, while you're meal prepping, while you're doing laundry, while you're driving, while you're working, while you're pretending to work. Whatever it is that you want to be doing. There is no right way or wrong way to WIP Chat. And I know some people leave them on in the background the same way they would with a podcast. And let me tell you guys, if you guys have been here at least the last couple WIP Chats, I've mentioned I'm hardcore obsessed with the Pod Meets World podcast, which is a Boy Meets World rewatch podcast. You guys, I had to make the decision. Do I listen to the newest episode or to get the recording done? So, yay, I'm here. I'm going to do both of them today, but the difference is I'm recording this now while my kiddo's at school, so there's no interruptions of tiny humans and whatnot. Before I get into actually whipping and chatting about my days and whatnot, first things first, I want to say for anyone who continues to come back because they like what they hear, they love knowing about what's going on in my life with my family and like the real side of who Lindsay is, not Life with Lindsay. Like I really, really appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you know that. That being said, there was a post that was made in one of the Facebook groups, one of the diamond painting Facebook groups this past week that really rubbed me the wrong way. Now, first things first, I'm going to say I'm pretty sure that this post was not directed at me. However, the anxiety in my head was telling me that this was 100% about me. The end of the day, I'm pretty sure it's not, and I have to keep reminding myself of that. And even if it is, I'm still saying what I'm saying. Okay. There was a post made in one of the groups that was looking for new to them content creators that did not talk about children. Which, again, I'm going to reiterate this. I've said this a million times. Like, I know my content isn't for everyone, and there's somewhere out there for everyone. And there's a way to go about things, and there's a way to do it in a harsh manner. So, if you don't want to hear the ins and outs of my life, and I'm not for you, that's totally cool. I'm not going to change who I am in the content that I'm putting out because of one person. I also don't expect everyone who stumbles across my page to go, you know what, this is exactly what I needed, and I'm going to come back every single week. I am realistic. That being said, this specific post was made by somebody. The name didn't sound familiar, so I don't know that they've ever watched my videos, and if they did, and they are watching it right now, I don't know why they would be watching after making the post they did. Okay, without being super cryptic here, this person said they are looking for new content creators to watch because they are tired of it sounded like they were targeting a specific creator, but of this person who only talks about their child and they want to hear other things. And of course, chatter went back and forth in the comments and people were like, you know, it's kind of hard to just talk about diamond painting for an hour every single week. And I don't think that's exactly what they were looking for. I think they were just looking for something that was a little bit less personal. Here's the deal. If you are somebody who is a stay-at-home parent of a small child, or you are with your child all the time, for the most part, that is your entire world. I don't have anything else to offer to you guys, to anyone, really, unless I talk about my family. And outside of my YouTube community, if I'm talking to someone in real life, the things I'm talking about are diamond painting and my family. And I know that this was not a personal attack on me. I keep telling myself this has nothing to do with me. I'm sure this is somebody else. And if it is me, then, you know, it is what it is. but it makes me feel less shitty if I just remind myself that it's probably somebody with a larger platform, someone more recognizable. But either way, at the end of the day, there's something called community over competition. There is a way to say, I am looking for new creators without bashing other people and bringing them down to bring yourself up. I do not tolerate that. I do not stand for that. So that's why I was saying, if that person is here watching this, I don't know why. Because they've made it clear this isn't the kind of content that they want. They also said that they keep watching it, which I don't understand. Why do you keep watching it if you don't enjoy it? If you ever notice, there are channels out there who have, like, their regular lives and they bring other people on. That is what I'm talking about when I say community over competition. Just because you subscribe to my channel doesn't mean you're not going to subscribe to somebody else's channel or vice versa. You can collaborate with somebody and raise both of you up without having to take somebody down. There's a way to grow your community, whether it's your YouTube community, your real life community, your little social bubble, whatever it is, without having to bring someone else down in the meantime. And I've had a particularly difficult week, and this hit me at the shitstorm of, like, the worst timing ever. But I'm really, like, if you are somebody who thinks that you're going to move ahead in this world because you're taking somebody down, this is not the channel for you. I am not the person for you. I appreciate that you're here, but there's no need for you to stay. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to get people to leave or I'm trying to alienate anybody or anything like that. I'm just saying this is about building up the community. If you are looking for new creators, then you can say, hey guys, looking for some new YouTubers. These are the topics I'm interested in. Anybody fit the bill? That way, you're just saying, I'm looking for new creators. You're not saying, I'm looking for new creators to replace the ones I don't like because they suck. And so, while you guys are here, please take the time in the comments down below. If there is a channel that you love, please share them with everybody else. I would love for people to come to this video and walk away having found at least another channel that they're like, oh, I could get into this. You know, I have all sorts of different kinds of channels that I like. A couple that I love, like, right off the top of my head, I'm going to share with you guys. Diamond Paintings by Lara. If you guys have not subscribed to her channel, I've mentioned her a million times. I absolutely adore her as both a creator and a human being. She puts out really thoughtful and detail-oriented post reviews and does tons of small shop hauls and product reviews, and I feel like the content she's putting out is really thoughtful and really thorough and done in a really true and honest way. If you're looking to hear, like, real life stories and to giggle and to have, like, a family dynamic, check out Kris and Kel. And I will list all of these people down below. They are a sister duo. They have very different personalities, but you could totally tell that they are sisters. The way they get along. If you're into dad jokes, they tell one at the end of every episode. If you're really into, like, Dollar Tree hauls, and that's not all she does, but Lori over at One Fun Diamond Painter, she does a lot of those. She does a lot more accessible content. There are people out there who strictly do, you know, dropship company unboxings, or people who do a ton of small shop hauls, or tons of hauls in general. There are other people who, you know, you really tune into them because you want to see the sneak peeks, or you want to see the details of an unboxing, or whatever it may be. There is someone out there for everyone, and I just want to say there's a way to access that without bringing other people down. And like I said, I'm having a very difficult week in general. If you guys are new or newer to me, I definitely deal with depression and anxiety. I have a small child who I spend all of my days with, and she is my entire world, for better or for worse. And when I see somebody making a comment about, you know, they just don't want to hear that kind of stuff, you know, I'm not going to take that personal. But then when they turn it into, I have a child, and I don't know why they can't talk about anything else. And I just want to be like, then you probably have different circumstances. I don't have a job that I go to outside of the home. I don't have other adults that I deal with. I don't have anybody that I spend time with outside of my family to have those kinds of stories to share with you guys. I don't have those experiences. I can't come back and tell you guys the drama that's going on at work or little stories like that. I just don't have that in my life. And I know that I definitely have people who are childless that listen to me, and they say to me in the comments, like, I don't have a kid, so I can't relate to this, but I love hearing your stories. And, like, especially for people who can't relate, but they do want to hear them, and they appreciate the honesty in which I share my details. Like, you guys have no idea how much that means to me. But then the back end of this person's post said something about, like, sharing kids all over social media. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I can be absolutely petty if I have to be. I talk about my child in my videos. I talk about her on Instagram. I try to be very thoughtful in the way that I discuss things, because there is a chance that my daughter will one day watch these videos. And I don't want her to be like, Mom, I can't believe you told the whole world that I danced naked in front of the window, or whatever, you know, which she did not do that, but, I'm just saying. But, I also don't share her. If you ever see a picture of my daughter, it's from behind, or it's like a picture of her outfit. You will not see my daughter's face on my social media. Will that change in the future? Maybe, I don't know. But my kiddo, for the 6 years that she's been alive on this earth, there's been a photo to announce her birth, and then my husband put up a photo, I think it was our first Valentine's Day, and then there's just been, like, a couple little things here and there where, you know, she's posted, but her face is blurred out, or whatever. So no, not everybody who talks about their kid is posting about them on social media. The kicker for me is that this person claimed they don't post about their kid on social media, which, okay, you do you. Like, and I've said it before, and I will say it again, I am not here to tell anybody what to do with their lives, how to raise their kids. Like, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have no idea what I'm doing, and most days it feels like I'm completely and utterly failing as a parent on this earth. And I'm not saying that because I'm looking for sympathy, but, like, I'm telling you guys, like, I struggle so hard, and it's not something that I often discuss, like, the inner details, but it is something that, you know, I deal with. But I clicked on this person's profile, and the first thing I see, the second profile picture is of them and their kid. And I was like, huh, so you're going to sit here and judge people for posting about their kids on social media, post in a Facebook group that you don't do that, and then it took me all of 0.2 seconds to see a picture of your kid on your social media? Like, I don't understand. And again, you guys do you. Like, I have friends who they post 7,000 pictures of their kids a day. It's not my place. You do you. You do what works best for you. As long as you respect what I do and how I raise my kid, the feeling should be mutual. So, again, I know this is a really long tangent, but, like, I was almost going to film this, like, face-to-face, because it has been weighing so heavy on me, and I am just, there's a way that question could have been worded, and I responded, by the way, to that comment, and I let them know, like, hey, you know, my suggestion would be, perhaps don't watch their videos anymore, but also maybe look for somebody who has older children or who's childless. Because if you don't want to hear stories, like family time stories and little kid antics, then maybe people who don't fit that bill would just be a better channel fit for you. There's no insult to anyone. There's no bringing anyone down. There's just me saying, like, if that's how you feel, then that's what you should do. And somebody said, isn't that exactly what she's looking for? Again, it's all in the way that it was said. And this other person who commented, who I don't know who you are, and you had nothing to do with me, and I appreciate you coming forward and speaking up as well, because this other person was like, there's a way to do it without being hurtful towards others. And that was my whole point. Like, that's fine that channels like mine and other channels who talk about their family are not for you, but there's a way to say, I'm looking for new channel recommendations without saying, and I don't want to be affiliated with these anymore, or I want a new channel because the current things I'm watching suck. Like, you wouldn't say to somebody, oh man, I'm looking for something new to watch on TV. I just hate this show so much and I wish it didn't exist, and I wasted so much of my time watching their channel, blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, I mean, I'm sure there are some people out there, but I don't know. I know this has been a really long-winded rant, and part of that is also because I don't have as much to talk about this week, and I'm not here stretching that out. This is something that, like, when I tell you this has been weighing on me since the day I saw that post, I just feel like we need to do better. We need to do better as a society. We need to do better as a community. Like, just do better. Just do better. Anyway, I hope that you guys are all well. So, funny little story, if you will. I went to drop my kiddo off at school today. Going right into the family stories. And my daughter, who we listen to a lot of Sirius XM in the car. And I'm a big fan of like my 90s on 9 and that kind of stuff. And so she does listen to a lot of music that I grew up listening to. And she likes a lot of it. Like, she really likes the Cranberries. Which I don't remember what was... I had the New Wave on this morning, and I don't know what the song was, but she immediately hopped in the car. She's like, I like this. She discovered Blink-182 yesterday, and thinks, like, they are the greatest things in sliced bread. And this isn't me pushing anything on. I'm just playing music, or I'm singing something, or whatever. But my child doesn't listen. I am pretty sure that I have a defective model whose listening ears just never came in full functioning. And I don't mean, like, I think my child's hard of hearing. Like, I think she's just intentionally not listening to me. But then she has these little moments where I'm like, oh, I guess she is listening to some things. So she's been dropping these, like, radio bumpers for a while now. And so she was sitting there and talking about, you're now listening to Kids Bop Radio. And I dropped her off. Now, she gets dropped off in a kindergarten loop, so it's just kindergartners. So the aides that help with these kids are used to dealing with a bunch of 5- and 6-year-olds because they don't deal with the bigger kids. They just deal with the kindergartners. So she hops out of the car. She's getting out of the car, and she's like, this has been Kids Bop Radio. And her aide says to her, oh, are you practicing for your YouTube channel? And she said it in kind of like a snarky way. And I was just like, oh my God, please don't say that my mommy does YouTube videos. You guys, I was so sure it was coming. And I have never, ever shied away. I am not embarrassed at all by the content that I put out or the fact that I make videos. You know, for me, this is such a huge outlet. It gives me an opportunity to connect with like-minded people, people who have similar interests, people who love Alice in Wonderland, just people who, you know, seem to have a genuine interest in my family and my life. And I know there are some people out there who, like, they don't really talk about their YouTube world stuff outside in their real world. But there was a study done, and I haven't looked up the statistics to see if it's still the same, but the #1 most wanted profession for children is now, a content creator, a YouTuber, a TikToker, an Instagrammer, or whatever. And also, like, before anybody questions it, I'm not delusional. I don't consider myself to be a large content creator. I don't even consider myself to be a small content creator. I'm, like, micro level. And yes, I'm not saying this to nullify the fact that I have people here or that people tune in or anything like that. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't have a huge following, which is totally fine with me. Again, I've said this before, the people who are here because they want to be here. There's something about me or my channel or the content that I put out that has them saying, I want to know more. I want to be back here. Most people are not tuning into Life with Lindsay for some, like, hard-hitting unboxings. Do they? Sure. But I get much more views typically on my WIP chats than I do on anything else. My post reviews, people seem to enjoy them, but I think that they enjoy them because they are me being honest about them and not just being like, this kit was great, it was really pretty, here's some shiny drills, ta-da! Which, if that's what you're looking for, there are content creators out there for that. But it just made me chuckle because I was like, I know that she didn't mean it with, like, ill will, but you could tell, like, she kind of sees that as a joke career path. And listen, this is not my career path. This is not, like, what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is not me saying, like, I'm going to live off my earnings on YouTube, and like, I'm not delusional. Which actually makes me think there is a girl, this is a couple years ago, who reached out to me on Instagram, and she just wanted to know, basically, like, if I was making money off of my videos, and to be completely transparent with you guys, I've never made a dime off of Instagram. I'm also not on Instagram to make money, and I feel like some people may have been like, well, that's a little harsh, Lindsay, but I let her know, like, if you're trying to solely survive off of content creation, it doesn't have to just be diamond painting, just any kind of content creation, you have to have a significant size platform. And a couple hundred or a couple thousand subscribers is not it, unfortunately. And I wasn't trying to be mean, and I wasn't trying to be harsh, and I explained it, like, you know, a lot of the times, like, I'm not making a paycheck for making a video. Do I occasionally get, like, a free canvas to share with you guys or something like that? Yeah. So I'm getting paid in other kinds of ways, but I'm not getting paid in the sense that, like, I'm paying my bills. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. I don't know. What is on my canvas? There's, like, had a couple spots like this. I don't know if it's falling off of something else. I'll just use my toothbrush at the end. Actually, maybe I'll do that now. If you guys are ever looking for, like, oh, how do I clean my canvas off? I do use, I just ripped that right off, a toothbrush. I don't always use it. I use it occasionally. I need to refill my wax. I have, like, hair on my desk. You guys, that's one of the worst things about being blonde is, my hair is blonde, and so it's very, very light, and oftentimes when I am diamond painting, I'll find a hair stuck to my canvas, like, after the fact, so I'll have already, like, placed drills over it, and it's only because I'm, like, kind of seeing something popping up in the corner, but in reality, what is happening is the hair is so light that I'm not noticing it until it's too late. I am trying to not load my pens quite as much. Where's that color? There we go. I knew I had it. I know this is probably, like, it probably gives somebody so much anxiety to see the amount of, like, drills containers out on my desk right now, but I am working out of the large container for the Harbor Freights. If you've never seen this, I did not create it, but it is a container that holds 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 50. I think it's 56 or 58 of these little containers, like 2.5 of the 25-piece sets. And I like it because it has a lid and it can hold more than one of those that holds 25. Well, it's technically 24. The 25th piece is the container. But for me, listen, you guys, be real proud of me right now. At least I'm proud of me, so that's all that matters. But I kitted up this kit and my next kit so that when I was done this, I could just immediately go right into that one and not have to worry about kitting down so I could kit up. We've all done that, right? But this one here, I like because I can hold a decent amount, but, like, I didn't have any colors in here that were massive. I had one bag that was, like, bigger than the others, and so I just have the extra drills. This is, like, one of the only colors that had static in it. It's because it's in its own bag, but I have that over here. Anyway, oh my god, I feel like I haven't talked about anything relevant. And now I just totally forgot what I was talking about when it came to the diamond painting stuff. Oh well, anyway, so I'm sure that that tangent went off. But again, if you guys haven't done it, or if you want to wait till the end, like, please leave a channel down below. And you can absolutely, like, besides the fact that you can go, I love this channel, you can tell us why. I love this channel, they have great post reviews. I love this channel, they have a great personality. I love this channel, they're super funny. And for me, I go in waves, where, like, sometimes I just watch TV shows on my DVR. Other times, I just catch up on every single YouTube video. So if you are a fellow creator and you saw me commenting on a bunch of videos of yours, like, in a row, ever, it's usually because I've put everything on my watch later, and then I just caught up. But anyway, one last little quip, and then I'll get into, like, the details of my actual week. My husband, if you guys did not know, my husband's tall. He's 6'4". I am short. I am 5'3", and change. It's very important for the and change part. But my husband texted me the other day, and he said, there's a really tall guy in my store right now. And I said, oh yeah? And he said, yeah, the guy's 7'5". Now, I said, well, that's the difference between us. And he's like, what? No. Now, at the end of the day, my husband knows I'm being totally serious, but it's not very often that my husband gets felt to be made little, because he's a very big dude. And I was like, Brian, 6'4" to 7'5" is 13 inches. Or 1 foot, 1 inch. I said, 5'3" to 6'4" is 13 inches. Or 1 foot, 1 inch. And he's like, this math doesn't seem to be mathing. And I was like, this is literally how I feel around you all the time. And he's like, I just think it was funny because, you know, he doesn't think of it that way. He knows he's taller than me. He knows he's taller than most people. My husband's tall, but he's not like giant kind of tall. But he's tall enough that it makes a difference. And it just made me giggle. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. So, as I had mentioned, it was a really, really rough week. It's crazy to look at the difference between last Sunday and yesterday, or yesterday in real time. Last Sunday, my husband was at work, so my daughter and I had like a mommy and me day, and we had a fabulous day. Like, it had been a great week last week, everything, or the week before, everything was just like, it's one of those things that when you're a caretaker, it could be for, an elderly parent, it could be for a small child, whatever. If one week is just like an excellent week, you are just waiting for the other shoe to drop. And for those bad days to come around the corner. Because it can't be good all the time. And that's not me being pessimistic. That's just me being realistic. And so we had been coming off of like a couple really good days. So her and I, we went to go bowling. And when I tell you guys, we had so many issues. So many issues at the bowling rink. Like, we got our stuff, we sat down, I put all my information in, and I got the thing started. So, she rolls the first ball, and it doesn't come back. It doesn't refresh, it just is sitting there. So, I'm like, okay. I go up to the front, and I was like, hey, can you reset it? Mind you, this is literally the first frame of our game, and I had paid for 2 games. It was like cheap from 9 to noon or something like that. I don't know exactly what they called it. But I was like, I'm going to get those in now, pay for them now so that I don't have to pay the full price like if I go for a second game. And I'm glad because we ended up having to switch lanes at one point. The bumper stopped working on one side. My daughter's foot slipped over the line, so it counted it as a foul, which is fine. Like, I'm not playing like for stakes here. But then it wasn't like letting the score come up. I was just like, could this be any more frustrating? Meanwhile, my daughter is having the time of her life, is loving every single minute of it. She is being the best little cheerleader. Like, she'd be like, good job, mommy, you knocked down 4. And I was like, yeah, I knocked down 4. Like, it was great. And we just, those are the moments that I live for. Like, having that good company with my child. It just really, it does something for your soul. It really does. And I was so happy to be able to spend some one-on-one time with her. I think it's important as a parent to have those moments, whether you have 1 child or 10 children. Like, it really doesn't matter. Children, what they crave is connection. And one of the things that I do just, you know, throughout the day to let her know that I'm thinking about her and little points of connection is when she's in the car. It works much better if I'm driving just because the angle, but I will reach back to her in her car seat and I will just put my finger out just like this. and then she will finger bump me. And it's just a tiny little gesture, but it makes her know mommy's thinking about me. And there's that true physical connection. And I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist or anything like that, but I just know how important that connection is. I was talking to a local mom on Facebook last night, actually. She was looking for recommendations for like a rental princess for her kid's birthday. And I said I didn't have any personal experience with hiring anybody, but I've been to events run by certain companies, and I highly, highly recommend this one, but I would never give $1 to this one. And she said, you know, do you mind sharing why? And I explained the story, and it was, I'm not going to go over the story here, but it was a company that I can tell that they're not out there to make little kids happy. They're out there to just make as much money as possible in any means possible, and they don't care if they're stepping on somebody's toes and all of that. Anyway, we were talking, and she said she had asked her daughter, if you could have any princess come for your birthday, who would it be? And this little girl, who's turning 5, her answer was, you, Mommy. That's all she wanted. She wanted her mom to be there. She looks at her mom with those loving, adoring eyes of, I so adore you and love you and appreciate you. And I've never met this woman, and I was just like, that is the most heartwarming and sweetest thing ever. And it's so true. Like, kids just crave that connection. And hopefully, like, when she gets older, she'll still want to have fun times with mom, even if it means doing something else other than cutesy little things. But I'm sure it'll translate into, I mean, basically spending more of my money, but, you know, but I'm excited. I was talking to Brandy from Diamond Artisan the one day, and we were talking about there's nothing more gut-wrenching. And if you have a child, it doesn't matter if your kid is 1 or like 70, you will understand the feeling. Like, no parenting books ever in the world prepare you for that feeling when your kid stops saying a word incorrectly, or the day that they stop needing a bottle and you realize, like, that was the last bottle I ever gave them, and now they're on sippy cups, and now they're drinking out of big kid cups, and now they're drinking out of the same cups that we're drinking out of. And so Brandy and I were talking, because there were a couple things recently that vocally my daughter stopped saying, or started saying them correctly, which I think I've said this to you guys. She used to call it Walmart, and now it's Walmart. A couple that she still says incorrectly that I will never correct her on is California, which is also Pennsylvania. But my new favorite is she can't say Taylor Swift, who she discovered, while flipping past Kids Pop Radio the one day. Her name is Twaler. Sometimes it's Twaler Swift, sometimes it's Twaler Sift, but it's Twaler. And she was very excited about the Chiefs because Twaler's husband. And I was like, well, it's her boyfriend. She's like, well, why aren't they married? And I was like, well, that's something you're going to have to ask him. I don't know. But it is the cutest thing in the world listening to her talk about Twaler's. Anyway, I feel like I'm just going on in these cute little stories because I just am dreading how awful this week has been. So, without getting into too many details, because again, I also respect my child. I have no problem complaining to the people closest to me in my life about how my child has been a butthole or hear the things she's done, but I'm also not going to post an entire video for an hour, like, bashing my child, because that's not my style. And again, I have definitely come on here and told you guys some of the shitty things my kid has done, but also some of the amazing things that she has done. But in general, this week has been a really, really difficult week. I need to go through the process of finding her a local OT. She gets occupational therapy services through the school. Those are, like, I don't have to pay for them or anything. They're provided by the school. And they come in and they actually pull her from her classroom, which she doesn't seem to mind. I'm sure as she gets older, it's not something she's going to super love. But they primarily work on things like handwriting skills and less on things like sensory integration and emotional regulation. And whenever they do, I get updates of like, oh my god, she's doing amazing. And I was like, are we talking about the same kid? But I need to find a local OT because I shared with you guys, I don't know how long ago it was now, that we had gone out of state for an OT evaluation. And they basically were like, oh, well, if you're planning on using these services anywhere outside of our facility, they'll be useless. And I was like, oh. And they were like, nobody told you this? And I was like, no. You would think when they scheduled me that they would have, you know, taken notice to it being an out-of-state address. But no. Nobody did that. So I just need to find another one. And it sucks because if you are somebody who has to see specialists, whether it's for you, a family member, a loved one, whatever, there is nothing more daunting than having to call place after place after place, being put on waiting lists, being told they're not accepting new patients, being told they don't take your insurance. It doesn't matter what it's for. It's just emotionally draining. And I am not super happy that I have to go through the process again. But we have moments where the home behavior then spills into what will affect her during the day in the classroom. And again, without going into too many details, and I'm not trying to say this because I'm trying to be like super vague or anything like that. I'm just trying to talk about it without, you know, I sit here saying this and like I hate more than anything when people like vague bust things. Like, you know, let me post something that is trying to drum up attention or emotions or whatever, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. We just have had some moments where her behavior at home, at the rink, out and about is to the point that if I sent her to school like that, I don't believe that she would be able to keep her body safe. And I'm not talking about self-harm or anything like that, but my daughter has a very, very difficult time, like, being able to calm herself down. And in a school situation, when there are, you know, 20 kids in your class, we don't have the ability to sit there and just let my child have a massive temper tantrum that is affecting everyone around her, especially when she doesn't have the capacity to pull out the tools in her toolbox when she's upset. That being said, I'm 41 years old, and I also don't have the capacity to pull the tools out of my own toolbox when I am upset. The point is, you want to catch it before you get to that point. But she's 6, and she doesn't know how to catch it before it gets to that point. So it gets to the point where everything is just boiling over, and then she's so worked up, and it's really hard to bring her back down. And unfortunately, I haven't figured out a way to let the school know that that's what's going on, and that's why I'm keeping my child home without giving them details, like, in the front office that they don't need to know. Like, it's none of their business. But there's no code for, like, oh, kid was having a hard day, so they're not coming in. And I want to say, I am not somebody who doesn't value my child's education. And I don't use it as a punishment of, like, you're going to school today, or you're not allowed to go to school today because of how you're behaving. It's a matter of if it's affecting more than just you. I have to think about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And it's also not one of those things where, like, if I don't send my kid to school because she is in complete meltdown mode, that I am then like, okay, now let's stay home and watch TV and eat snacks and do all of these things. This week has been hard. I have expended some of the, like, most patience I've ever had in a span of time ever. And then, as most humans do, I eventually broke. And then, of course, that just makes everything worse. But I love when you see these people who are like, I've never once raised my voice at my child. And I'm like, how is that humanly possible? And I know as an adult that I need to control my emotions more than expect my child to be able to control hers. And that's fine. But there's a difference between, like, my kid is frustrated and we're working through it versus, you know, somebody is doing something that's dangerous or destructive, or, you know, I have mentioned before, my daughter has a history of eloping in certain situations, which is just a fancy way of saying she tries to escape. And it's enough that the school has been like, okay, let's start to address this now, even though, you know, I had tried to address it when we started the school year. Do I have this other color out? Yes. Okay. Before the school year. But the way things were going this week, we missed one day of school. We missed all of our ice skating. Because at the end of the day, I'm also not going to, whether people agree with this or not, and, like, again, you can feel how you want to feel, but this is my life, and I am not going to reward my child with the things she loves when her behavior doesn't warrant it. That being said, I also don't, like, threaten ice skating as a thing, because the ice skating is something that she loves more than anything. Like, we're talking about a child who sees this as a career path one day. That being said, when my child is skating in circles and cutting off her fellow classmates, and they don't know where she's going, and they have to quickly stop or whatever, or she's continuously walking around and raising her blades behind her because she wants to practice some moves off the ice, but has no skate guards on, and little kids who are walking behind her don't know that, and she's now being dangerous, I have to think about how her actions are, I don't want to say affecting other people, but how they're being unsafe. And so we've had a couple issues over the last few weeks where she has escaped from her lesson and gotten off the ice, and the one coach pulled me aside, and she's like, listen, we have a policy, and if she does that, you know, we have to end it. And I was like, I am fine with that. They're not terminating her from being there. They just won't let her get back on for the rest of the lesson. And I totally agree with them. If she is doing something where she is being unsafe, whether it is intentional or she's just head in the clouds and has no idea, or she can't comprehend that that's something that's not safe, then we need to keep our bodies safe. And as her parent, my number one job is to keep her safe. I obviously can't protect her on the ice because I'm not out there with her. So we've just had multiple incidences where, you know, we'll be driving to the rink and everything's great, and then all of a sudden we get inside and, like, the behavior shifts. And we're just getting to a point now where it's, a lot of things are being affected, a lot of people are being affected, and I'm stressing myself out. And it also is one of those things that, like, if my kid is at the rink on certain days, then that means my husband has to figure out an additional way home from work. Fine, okay, he's a big boy, he can figure that out. But why would I make him take a ride share if I could pick him up? So that, on Monday, I specifically was like, well, she thought we were going to the rink after I told her we were not. And I was like, we're literally going to pick up Daddy. And I've also, I mentioned to you guys in my last video, I think, like, what day of the week do you guys do your grocery shopping? Because I still can't figure out how to plan for the week if I'm not going on Monday. So I was so tapped out. I had nothing left in the tank. Dealing with all of this over and over and over again, it was exhausting. So I also interacted with a different skate club, and it's really a shame that I left the conversation feeling the way I did. I can't say with 100% certainty that what I felt was being implied was actually being implied. But what I will say is I think there's a huge misconception, especially in our country, in the States, if you're elsewhere, where people look at the phrase special needs being the definition of somebody who is physically disabled, or special needs is for somebody who has severe developmental delays. Anybody who requires additional support services than their neurotypical peers, or their peers in general, is somebody who is special needs. If you have somebody referring to their child as special needs, do not. This is a huge PSA from Lindsay to you. Do not question that. Do not say, what special needs? Do not say, they don't look special needs. Do not say anything along those lines. And this interaction, I had said something about my child, and I had used special needs, and they basically referred back to it as special needs, like air quoted it to me. And they were like, and her being special needs as you claim. And I was like, what do you mean as I claim? My child is literally receiving in-school support services. How do you deny that? And I know that not everybody feels the same way about the word, but if you are the owner of that word and you are saying it about yourself, about your loved one, about a relative, about whoever, don't question somebody else on that. Like, my husband may not refer to my daughter as special needs in a conversation ever, but if he did, who's going to go up to him and go, are you sure? Do you really mean that? That's like the same thing when people say, well, your child doesn't look autistic. My friend gets that. And it's like, well, what do you mean? What is that supposed to mean? Or you don't look like X, Y, Z. What does that mean? What does that diagnosis look like? What does that thing mean? And it's very, very frustrating. And so I ended up not signing my child up for the event with the way I was being made to feel and the way they were referring to my child. And it's making me realize the closer and closer we get to summer, there's definitely going to be issues here where, like, my child doesn't have her support services outside of school. I don't have, like, when she was still with the birth through 3 program or the 3 to kindergarten program, I had people that could go with us to in the community events, and I don't have that. So now I'm stripping her of all of her supports, and I'm putting her in a situation where she's going to be away from the comforts of her own home for longer than she is in a school day, because she's, you know, only half day. And then most places make you sign like a behavioral clause. Like, if your child doesn't behave in the way they want you to have your child behave, then you can be removed from the program at any time. A lot of these places also don't give you your money back if they decide your child is no longer a fit for them. So I really don't want to spend all this money and throw it away on my child doing these summer programs that I know are going to be difficult and taxing. But, like, they're ice skating and she wants to do it. It's just very, it makes me feel really helpless as a parent of, like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to make any of this better? What am I supposed to do? And the one, she's like, well, we need to make sure that what happened last year doesn't happen again. And I said to her, I can't promise you that. I can't promise you that as much as I want to say my child will be better behaved this summer than she was last summer, that will actually be a fact. And I understand we're also talking about people who are not school teachers. They are not qualified to be teaching my child. They are just teaching them a skill, or, like, we did zoo camp, we did skate camp, like, you know, we've had issues, and it's very, very frustrating, because, like, I'm just trying to do right by my kid, and I feel like every time I try to, it just makes things worse. I'm gonna take a sip of my super watered down coffee. I don't understand the color of this or why it looks the way it does. How are we on time? Oh, so anyway, we had the one day we kept my kid home from school. Wednesday, my husband was off. I think it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. He was off. So we ended up going to Trader Joe's. I've been dying to go to Trader Joe's. You guys, I'm so bummed. One of the things I, like, specifically wanted to look for, they didn't have, or I didn't see it. It was really sad. If you guys have a Trader Joe's near you, they have this microwavable fondue. And I was shocked at how good it was. Like, shocked. And we did that the one day for whatever meal, lunch, dinner. And we just heated that up. We sliced up some fruit. We had some vegetables. We had some bread. And I was hoping to do that again. I was kind of hoping that we could do it, like, for a family Valentine's Day dinner. But that is not going to happen. They didn't have. But we got a bunch of stuff. And we chatted with the cashier, who was, like, the loveliest human being. And it was funny. We, did we stop at, I think we stopped at Taco Bell on the way home, just so we didn't have to worry about, like, putting, that's exactly what we did. We didn't want to put all the food away, and by the time we did that, now it's, like, an hour after her nap time, and she still hasn't had lunch. So, I saw a video on Instagram the other day, and it was from Taco Bell's people, and you guys, they are bringing back the salsa verde packets, and I am so excited. They're also doing a Cheez-It Crunch Wrap, which I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I'm not here to tell people, like, they can't enjoy it, but I don't think I want a Crunch Wrap with a giant Cheez-It in the middle. Do you ever just, like, keep pulling out colors, being like, where's the end in sight? And then realizing, like, it probably would have been smarter for me to just pull out the first row of colors and do it that way. Anyway, but yeah, we did that, and I was super, super excited about that. And then the next day, I sometimes get, I guess they're ocular migraines. They're, like, in my eyeball. So I had a really, really bad one on Thursday. I don't get them often, but when I do, like, I usually am out. And thankfully my husband was off, so he took her to school, and then he picked her up from school, and they were going to have a daddy-daughter date, since she had one with mommy. And I mentioned it's really important to reconnect with your kids, like, regularly, and just check in and spend quality time. So, long story short, if you guys didn't know, I don't like chicken. I could go the rest of my life and never eat chicken, and I wouldn't be sad. I don't like chicken. So, he has been dying. They opened up a Dave's Hot Chicken, which is a chicken chain, nearish to us. And he was like, well, and there's nothing else on their menu. There's not like they have another non-chicken option. It's like chicken or no chicken. And then the side dishes aren't even like something that I could be like, oh, well, they have mac and cheese. I could eat that for my lunch. No, it's like kale coleslaw and French fries, I think. So she was so excited because she was going to go with Daddy, and they were going to go to Dave's Hot Chicken, which my favorite part of this whole story is that she keeps calling it David's Hot Chicken, like it's super formal. And she has a Dave's Hot Chicken sticker on her jacket now. And a bunch of kids at school were like, oh, what's your sticker from? And she's like, David's Hot Chicken. But she, unfortunately, did not enjoy it. Neither did my husband. Which is really disappointing because he was so looking forward to it. Where is that color? I know I had it out, and then I think I just put that in the wrong spot. I'm going to try to remember that for my notes. Actually, I'm going to make a note of that real quick. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I wanted to make a note. I have a little notebook of things to discuss when I do my post review. And I didn't want to forget that, so I wanted to put that down. Anyway, I don't even know what I was talking about anymore, but David's Hot Chicken. So they ended up going to, like, McDonald's instead on the way home. But she was a good sport. She tried. It was just too oily and was just not, neither one of them really cared for it. Now, I was like, oh, so you didn't, he's like, oh, I ate all of mine. He's like, I would never go back there. I was like, oh, all right. Meanwhile, my daughter ate, like, one, I guess he said she ate, like, most of a chicken tender, which I'm surprised by, because if you know children, doesn't have to be my child, it could be anybody's child, but children in general, if they don't like something to eat, they're not going to keep eating it. They're going to make it well known that they don't like it and they want something else. But it was very, very, very helpful to me that my husband was off that day and that they were taking all this time together because they got a lot of stuff done. They got to spend time together. But in general, this week, it has been just a lot of, like, really explosive arguments, a lot of not listening, a lot of getting into things that we shouldn't be. My daughter, she took an entire sealed, mind you, tube of toothpaste, and after she was confronted, let me rewind. We have a rule that if you do something that you shouldn't be doing, and you are honest with us, and you let us know, that you won't get in trouble for it. And that's something that, like, I hold that true, like, when you get older. Like, if you are out with your friends, and your friends are drinking, and you need a ride home, if you call mommy, like, you're not gonna get in trouble for doing that. You're gonna be praised for making a good decision. Same thing goes true with, like, little things. So, she found a sealed bottle of toothpaste that had yet to be opened, and she opened it up completely underneath her sink. And upon many, many arguments and conversations about it, it was discovered that she did that because she was trying to make potions. The problem is that she did it and didn't tell us. She then tried to clean it up with her towel and didn't tell us. And then I saw her towel, like, covered in, like, white, hard, crusty stuff. And I was like, what is going on? And, you know, I understand kids make potions. They empty out shampoos and soaps and things like this. We've gone through more soap with this child than I think anybody should ever have to go through, ever. But that's for neither here nor there. So, after many issues of the soap and the toothpaste and all of this, we've now removed both of those things from her room. And now when she goes to the bathroom or she does her morning, nighttime routine, one of us has to go get the soap, toothpaste, whatever. And I know some people are probably thinking, like, that's a little extreme. But the fact of the matter is, when you have a child who, no matter how many times you tell them, just continuously is emptying entire containers of soap or toothpaste, it's like, okay, well, at some point this has to register, right? Like, you'd hope at some point. My other issue with this is the fact that it's not just let me empty the thing under the sink. It's let me empty the thing under the sink and then let me keep hiding in here. I know that this is her way of, like, her body likes tight spaces. She likes a lot of deep compression, so I'm not super surprised by that. But, like, girl, there's pipes and plumbing, and it is not a safe place for a child to be hanging out. So now I have to go out and buy, like, magnetic baby locks for my 6-year-old because she just can't stay out from under the cabinets. Now, there's no cleaning supplies. There's nothing under there that could be dangerous for her at this point. But at some point, this child needs to understand she cannot keep climbing in. And I don't mean, like, let me just go under there for a second. I mean, like, going in there and staying in there. Like, girlfriend, this is not the place to be. This is not it. So, unfortunately, a lot of our week was spent kind of making big sacrifices because, again, I'm not going to reward the bad behavior by going to the rink. And I feel like one of her ice skating teachers seems to think that I let her get away with everything, which is not true. I am the kind of person that, like, if I tell you, if you do this, I will take this away, I'll take it away. I follow through. Like, it's not a threat. It's, here's a boundary I'm holding, and here's your consequence. And I will hold that. The problem is, I think that a lot of these people think that I'm not like that. Because it's also hard in the ice rink to follow through with a lot of things unless it's let me take you home. Which, you know, I pay for ice time. I pay for coach's time. I pay for group lessons. Like, it sucks having already paid for something and having to just throw it away. So, like, with her private lesson this week, I texted her coach ahead of time just to let her know, like, I'm so sorry, but we're not going to be able to have our lesson this week. Because I didn't want to have to pay for it and then pull her off the ice. And she was like, good for you. She needs to know that there are consequences. And I was like, if she only knew the amount of consequences that, like, I hold up with this child. It's not like, I am not one of those parents that makes, like, idle threats. I don't want to say it as, like, threats, because I'm not threatening my child. But do you know what I mean? Oh, God. That's when you know you have too many colors. A whole bunch just fell on my desk. All right, well, I'll find the other one here in a minute. But, I guess that's probably a good place for me to stop. Like I said, you guys, it's been a lot going on this week, and nothing is really fun and exciting to talk about, so I was kind of like, let me just tell you some other roundabout stuff. But again, if you did not leave one of your favorite content creators down below, please make sure to do so. I hope that you guys appreciated my PSA, and that it didn't, you know, personally upset anybody. But if you've made it this far, I don't know. There's a cute little star right here. And there's a cute little bear right here. So leave me some star or bear emojis if you made it all the way through. If you like this video and you like to see more videos like this or nothing like this at all, please make sure to give this video 2 thumbs up. 1 real life, 1 virtual. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Come. Join the Sparkle Squad. While you're there, hit that notification bell. I do not operate on any sort of schedule. I operate on toddler standard time, and I record when my tiny human is sleeping or sleeping. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'll see you on my next one. Bye, guys.